to know the top 5 reasons why it's awesome to raise a family in DC? Well, we've got a 2024 update for you, and so today we are going to talk about it. I'm Melissa.
Leah.
And?
Paisley.
That's Paisley. And we're going to tell you today why it's so awesome to raise a family here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, let's jump right into this. So, number 1, this is always my favorite. It makes almost all of my lists for DC, but the museums are mostly free. I love history, and by living here in DC, I'm actually able to nourish that love with all kinds of museums, many of which are free. It's amazing. It speaks to the Terzus in me. I grew up in a family that loves to pinch pennies. So most people here are going to know about the American History Museum, Air and Space, and Natural History. And those are free, along with about a dozen others that are part of the Smithsonian Institution, and many are near the National Mall. But we are also lucky enough to get museums and exhibits all the time. So I was recently a chaperone on a field trip because somebody made me. And we went to, do you remember where we went?
Let me think.
Planet Word Museum.
I was gonna say that.
Oh, all right. Well, why don't you say it now? We went to
Planet what? You already said it.
Okay. That was the last one I chaperoned. Before that, we went to some park, and it wasn't even a good one. So I didn't have high hopes for Planet Word, but I'm going to tell you, I was wrong. Planet Word was all kinds of awesome. So it is the first voice-activated museum, so you actually get to talk to the exhibits, and then they light up. There are a bunch of different rooms where you learn about how language and words have affected our lives, everything from how we learn first words to a walk through a library with the interactive exhibits to learning how to how advertisers actually use language to get us to buy, which is like totally fascinating that certain words can like make people decide that they want to buy, right? Leah, I could describe something as pizza like juicy, and you'll want it because you love juicy pizza, right?
Juicy pizza sounds so gross.
That's what you used to ask for all the time. I want juicy pizza, and I didn't know what that meant. Anyway, there's also the Law Enforcement Museum, which I would like to get us to. Adults pay $22, but children up to 17 are free. All kinds of law enforcement exhibits and things over the years.
What about seniors?
Seniors are $20.
Like Dad.
Like Dad. He hates it. He gets so mad. I buy him the senior ticket everywhere we go because I could save $2. Number 2, the library system. I love our libraries. We have some really cool buildings too. I can pick up a library book in any library that I need, and I love seeing all of them, from everything from like those little, the neighborhood libraries that we went to get books when we're seeing how to do a project.
Like the one by Safeway, and you don't even have to go in to return your book.
Right. Yep. Or you've got the main branch at Martin Luther King. You can also have books delivered to your library of choice for pickup. You can also return them to any library that you want in the city, and they just figure it out and get them back to the right place of the many, many libraries that we have. They also have a lot of speakers. There's book talks, there's reading and writing groups, there's art classes, and there's like all kinds of things that actually happen at the library, which is really neat. I took the girls there when they were babies for like the reading and story time. They also offer after school classes for kids as well. I recently took a class on how to research your house history because we do live in a 90-year-old house here. And it was kind of interesting to read back and find some of the owners of this house that they were like famous DC people, which was kind of cool. So they shared a lot of resources and showed all the people that attended the class how to navigate the reference rooms so that they could research various maps, see how neighborhoods had changed. I only wish I had like more free time because I'd probably get lost in there for like months because it was just so fun even trying to piece together history for my own home. Number 3, we have an incredible supply of ethnic food here. I was taking the girls to Ethiopian restaurants here in DC from the time they were babies. And a lot of people here in DC are pretty well traveled. I wouldn't say that we're one of those people. We do a lot of US travel and States travel, but we have some flying fears, so we don't get to a lot of international places. But I guess it's not really a great claim to fame to say that we've got a lot of international restaurants here, but you know, when your own ethnic food is Italian, where you come from, maybe in like the middle of the country, I'm sorry. Like we did traveling out to the Dakotas and finding even just like a salad with something other than iceberg lettuce and ranch dressing was like, you couldn't find that. It was really kind of crazy. Anyway, so I actually believe that the variety of food here, in many ways, I'm going to say it, it's better than New York. I just think you're able to expose your kids to so much because it's such a melting pot here that there is a ton of culinary offerings. Now, my children don't happen to be as adventurous as some of their friends who do eat sushi. That was like my eye, Leah, who do eat sushi or Indian food, but I love that they actually have the opportunity whenever they want, and they probably will do that. The variety of ethnic foods here isn't limited to just dining in a restaurant or carrying out. You can actually find a lot of really small grocery stores that sell specialized ingredients. We've been to like the German grocery store that I went to with my partner Michael in one of our videos where we were talking about points in Virginia and Falls Church and places like that, where they have a German grocery store. They've got Italian grocery stores here. You can find Ethiopian stores here, Indian stores where you can get all kinds of different spices and things that may be just, native to that culture that you can't find in a regular grocery store. All right, so number 4, we're going to talk about that free pre-K. So the rumor is true. DC does have free pre-K at 3 years old. But before you start packing up your house, it's not very straightforward. First, not all neighborhoods have pre-K starting at 3. We did not live in a neighborhood that has one. You're actually going to only see that neighborhoods in the city that have sort of that defined like more at risk, right? Like where they want to get the kids into school. These are kids that maybe will have like food insecurity. They're the ones that they kind of have to get out of the home life and into the school so that they can get a read maybe on what's happening. That tends to be where pre-K3 is offered. And these are like some, tough situations, right? And they're very real things to know about city living. So the next thing to kind of know is that the seats offered in pre-K3 and 4 are going to be offered as part of what we do in DC, which is a lottery program. In many areas, the seats are going to go to students who already have older siblings in the school. And this can make like really the most highly desired seats very difficult to come by. We did not get a seat for Mersina, who's the older child in this house, when she had the chance. So she didn't have a sibling in school already ahead of her. But we did get a seat for this thing, which was amazing because I got her out of the house faster. And it was kind of awesome. Anyway, she had that seat because Mersina was enrolled in school. So if this is something that you're focused on, we should actually talk in more detail. I do have like a video on the school lottery and what that entails for DC and what that looks like. So we can discuss that in more detail. So definitely reach out if that's something that's like a sticking point for you and your family. Now, finally, the 5th thing, the location is super awesome for family vacations. There is so much to do here within an hour or two from DC that I would be remiss to not even mention this as part of my list. You can get to the beaches in 2 to 3 hours. So Bethany Beach, Rehoboth Beach are 2 of the more popular beaches that families tend to go to. Then there's skiing. This family, sadly, does not ski. And that is because we are kind of like the world's biggest klutzes. We also expected that our accident-prone children would be similarly spectacular when going down mountains on their butt for the most part, like their father and I did the one time each of us skied, and that wasn't even together, but we had the same experience. Liberty is probably the most popular place since it's about an hour and a half from DC, followed by Whitetail, also about 2 hours. Wisp is 3 hours and Snowshoe is 4.5 hours. So some of those can be day trips. Some of them can be turned into weekend and overnight trips. And a lot of people in the area who ski do that. We stay home and do our little sleds. Now, I've also been a huge fan of Hershey Park over the years. It is 2.5 hours from here. It is a super clean amusement park, which is not par for the course for a lot of amusement parks. And it's a lot of fun for kids. Plus, there's the whole theme of chocolate underlying everything, which is like undeniably delicious. They make some really great drinks, ice cream. I mean, you don't just have to get them at the restaurant. Like they're everywhere. It's amazing. Like a whole town that smells like chocolate. How could you not love that? We're overdue to go, I think. We need to go to Hershey Park again. Yeah. There's also Shenandoah Park and Skyline Drive, which is amazing for hiking and outdoor activities and awesome viewing spots for all of the fall foliage. We went a couple years ago, and when we drove out there, yeah, it was
so fun.
It was so beautiful. Remember, we went hiking.
So
it was cold. It did get cold up there in the mountain. You're in the mountains. It does get cold. We went at the end of the season, so we stayed at one of the lodges, and we kind of learned the hard way that food is, not so plentiful. So you're ordering things and ordering the lentil soup, and they're like, we can make that, but we don't have any of the vegetables that go in it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But that's that. So I would say those are the top 5 things about raising a family in DC. I think it's a great jumping off area for everything, and you can get these little ones into pre-K pretty soon, and then you can get them out of the house. All right, I'm Melissa Terzis, and this is Leah and our
guest.
No, contact info is coming next.
It's her birthday tomorrow.
Bye.